Premier Ball, there have been a lot of unanswered questions about this case over the last couple of years, a lot of whispering behind the scenes. The story's finally out there. Are you relieved at all that you're finally getting to tell your side of the story, because you hadn't been able to say anything until this point?
Well, for telling my side of the story, you know, I guess it's important to the public, but me as an individual, really it wasn't that important. I think what, the decisions that I made on October the 8th to actually come forward with information that I thought, could help with the investigation, I did it for personal reasons. I did it because the tragic event that occurred, with Mr. Wellman and his family, and I just did what I think any responsible citizen would have done. So it really wasn't about, getting my story out. It was actually helping the police with the investigation, and so that the justice system would be able to get to the point where, the Wellman family would be able to put closure to what happened on October 3rd.
Take us back to that moment when you realized you did have to go to the police and your daughter was somehow may be connected to this. What were you thinking at that point in time? How difficult was that for you?
My focus at that point in time was like most people within the province. They were aware of what happened. And when I saw the video that the various media outlets had posted, and I started putting a bunch of things together.
That was the black jacket?
That was the black jacket, and so there's a number of things that had been happening to me personally, and then knowing the location and knowing the issues around substance abuse and seeing this black jacket. And not thinking about what any consequence would mean, none of that mattered at the time. I just felt it was my duty as a resident in this province, regardless of what was going on in my life. It was my duty to do what I think any responsible person would do, is actually go forward with that information, and be it relevant or irrelevant, someone else would decide that. But that was really about the decision. There was no hesitation on my part.
You went there, though, not even knowing if you were possibly implicating your own daughter.
No, there was no discussion with my own daughter, prior to going to and speaking to the police on October the 8th. But it's about.
But was that in the back of your mind that you could be?
I'm very confident that my daughter would have been safe. There was, I've had, I just did what had to be done, and it was about the justice system. It was about, a man had lost his life, an innocent man had lost his life, and what the consequences would have been. 2 years later or 2 months later, it was not really something that I was thinking about. I just felt that I had to go forward with the information.
Many people may still have the question in their mind as to why you didn't go forward sooner, knowing what they know now. You had people sending you threatening texts and email, Facebook messages, the money that was racked up on your credit card. They wonder why you didn't go sooner. What was that, the tipping point? What happened at the captain's quarters?
It was, but there's no doubt. I mean, there were a number of issues that were occurring in my life with my daughter, and I've had a great relationship with my daughter. She's really an innocent person in all of this, and I've always supported her. And she actually, not knowing, unknown to me, that she was actually speaking to the police on other issues as well, because she felt at the time that there was some threats in her life that she needed to deal with. And she did that, and even during the investigation she met with the police, as many other people did, and her story was told, and both the defense and the Crown had looked at the information that she came forward with, and they all agreed that this was irrelevant in the trial process, and it wasn't required. So I did what I had to do, and I'm sure that the timing of it could have been different, looking back. I know when I felt that I should go was the right thing to do, and that's the reason why I went forward on October the 8th. All the other issues, I was dealing with that, like many families in this province are dealing with this today. We have fathers and mothers and grandparents that actually speak to their children. I always encourage that discussion. It's something that I've done for over 30 years as I worked as a healthcare professional, very acutely aware of the impact that it would have on families. So I've always done that with my own daughter, and I've always supported her and continued. Prior to this event, I did what was necessary, what any father would do to make sure she was safe.
People still may think, because you're a high-profile politician, a guy with some money, that you may have gotten special treatment, or your daughter got special treatment by the police. What do you say to that? What do you say to those people who may still think that?
Yeah, never asked for special treatment. Always, I've been always very transparent, and I've come forward. I've been very straightforward. with people. As an example, the information that I shared with the RNC on October the 8th, I've never seen that transcript. It was never given to me to validate it. They used it as they saw fit. So I can guarantee the people of this province, there are no guarantees. There is no special treatment for me or my daughter or my family in all of this. I could argue, I guess, in some ways that if I wasn't Premier of the province, that, others might have been treated differently. So, but I'm aware of that as a public figure, and I think it's the right thing to do. But there was certainly no special treatment for my family or for me or my daughter in this particular case.
When you had to pay back that money, how did that happen? Did you meet with the people who were owed the money?
No,
for the drug debts?
No, never. Never had any conversations with any of those people. I've left that to the individuals that were involved at the time, and when I was approached to the circumstances, again, it was. All I wanted to do was make sure that my family, that they were safe, and
that would be Brandon.
That would be my daughter and Brandon, and so we did what any father would do, and try and help those individuals. And I would say over my life, I've always tried to support other families as well, and that's exactly what I was doing with my own family at this particular point in time.
It really came to a head just before you became Premier of the province. And a lot of people will look back on that now and say, how did you possibly manage to run a campaign, not only run a campaign, but win a campaign, and function on a daily basis when you had this major distraction of turmoil in your personal life with your daughter who, was in trouble?
Well, number one is I have a lot of family support, a lot of friends that support me and my family along the way, and I was always in contact with my daughter when I was on the campaign trail. But it's what a lot of families in our province and around this country that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. My circumstance probably a little different than most. But
it does speak to that, though, what lengths a parent will go to, because long before you were in politics and long after you'll be out of this office, that you're going to be a dad.
I will always be a dad, and now I'm going to be a granddad, and so we've been, and I'm enjoying that. But it's, all families deal with different issues, and in this particular office, I get the opportunity, and I always do, to support many families, when they're in their time of need. And I always encourage parents to have that conversation. Sometimes they're difficult conversations that you need to have with your sons and your daughters and your nieces and nephews and so on. We have to have those conversations, but they also must always know that as a parent, our ultimate responsibility is to actually support them.
Do you think that any of what was going on in your personal life impacted some of the political decisions you may have made, that it may have clouded some of your judgment?
Oh, it never clouded my judgment. I always take the time. I usually make the decisions that I have to make based on the evidence that's been presented. So I always take the necessary time, and I do often sit alone and think about and review the evidence before decisions are made. And when I need to reach out for advice, I'm not shy in doing that, if it's inside of government or outside of government, on issues that impact Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. I will say that the experience in terms of mental health and addiction, I think that helps the whole decision-making process for many young people and even older adults in our province that had to deal with significant health issues and substance abuse issues. So I think that experience actually helps with those decisions.
But it's difficult when you have to talk about somebody else's situation who's close to you, who didn't sign up for this to be a politician, is it?
I still think I'm in a very unique position to help a lot of people in our province, and I'm going to continue to do that. If it's on mental health, if it's about addictions, or if it's about any of the other social issues or economic issues that impact our province. I think at this stage in my life, I've had a numerous number of experiences, both socially and economically, that I can use that to the benefit of our province, and I will continue to do that to the best of my ability.
Did you ever think about quitting when all this was going on?
No, I never did.
That your attention needed to be at home rather than this?
No, because I was always very close, and I can tell you right now that my daughter, that's the last thing she would have ever wanted me to do was quit because of the issues that she was dealing with. She's always encouraged me to do this job. She always felt, and she encourages me even this morning with text messages and saying, "Dad, you're doing a good job. I'm proud of you. Continue to do what you're doing." And
What does that mean to you to get those texts from her?
It means a lot. And she also knows that if she needed me to be closer, well, I would be there.
This has obviously taken a toll on you, sir.
Yeah, I'm a parent. It just happens to be the Premier of the province.
How is Jade doing? You are a grandfather?
I'm a grandfather, and I'm looking forward to getting back for Christmas.
Thank you for chatting with us today, and Merry Christmas to you. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.